Okay people, so I haven't done this in a long time. In fact, I want to say it's been probably 2 years or more since I've done this, and what I'm referring to this is I haven't talked about a brand new Shonen Jump series when it only has one chapter out, because it's just always a very unpredictable thing when it comes to Shonen Jump manga. You never know, they constantly canceling series left and right. Sometimes it'll be 15 chapters deep and they're like, boom, get it out of the magazine. But I'm not even gonna lie, one of the reasons why I decided to do this one is because I am very hyped off that first chapter, and the series I'm referring to is the new Shonen Jump title entitled Red Hood. It is based off of a one-shot. I believe there was originally a one-shot manga that came to Shonen Jump. They liked it. Apparently it polled real well and all that jazz, and they were like, boom, let's give it a series. And off the gate, I gotta say, it definitely seems as though with this one, they were definitely going for the approach, in my opinion, of, yo, let's make another Demon Slayer. Let's make another Demon Slayer, because honestly, a lot of elements in this first chapter gave me a vibe of, oh snap, this is kind of like a different type of take on a Demon Slayer-esque story, but also adding elements of foreshadowing that can make it a lot more grandioso and go into a whole different direction if need be down the road. Because yeah, this was definitely jam-packed, and I am very excited to talk to you guys about this one again. Brand new, fresh out of Japan, Red Hood. Let's talk about it, people.
No matter how you move, get it done. No matter how you move, get it done. No matter how you move, get it done. No matter how you move, get it done.
So the chapter starts off with 2 colored pages, and it's basically seemingly this woman talking to this kid, and she's like, boy, have you seen a dragon? She says, have you seen a dragon, boy? And the boy says, how could I? They only exist in fairy tales. And the woman replies, long ago they flew the skies, but we exterminated the last one 500 years ago. So it already gives you this crazy vibe of like, okay, so is this going to be about dragons? You don't know what to expect coming into this one. I didn't know what to expect coming into this one, because I'm like, okay, Red Hood, like, yo, what we doing, Little Red Riding Hood? Or we going with like Batman under the Red Hood? Where are we taking this story? And the series takes place, at the very least in the beginning, in the tiny hamlets, which I want to say hamlet just means like a town or an area, a little village or something like that, and it's called Kasoka Village. Now the main character, Velo, is basically like this little boy, small, kind of younger child, which I'm imagining as the series goes, it's going to continue and age him up a little bit, because he is kind of young, but I think that's also part of the thing of like, yo, he's really young, but he wants to protect people. Because off the rip, they're talking about another person went missing. They were probably eaten by a werewolf. And basically that sets the stage of, okay, so it seems as though one of the threats, instead of it being like a demon or a curse like Jujutsu Kaisen, it seems as though werewolves is going to be a thing. But also you got to take into note, remember, this chapter starts off talking about dragons. So we heard mention in just the first few pages alone of dragons flying the skies 500 years ago, and now werewolves eating people. Very fantastical, very insane. And by the way, there are going to be spoilers of this first chapter in this video. You have been warned, because there's a lot I want to talk about. There's a lot to talk about, and if the series goes the distance, then it really won't be spoilers down the road, because it's, again, the very beginning, the very start, and you got to talk about something, because it gets into detail about basically these werewolves, and that once these werewolves eat human flesh, they can't stop. For the rest of their lives, they'll basically be bound to, they gotta eat human flesh, they gotta eat humans. And then it goes into that the mayor of this little hamlet, I don't know why I find it hilarious to call it hamlet, like I didn't even know that there was actually a thing that, you know, they call like little towns, little villages, hamlet. But the mayor of this little hamlet basically sold everything he owned to hire a hunter from this hunter guild to basically take down this werewolf and stop this werewolf from eating their people. And it goes into detail that this guild was founded by this red hooded person, and that they're basically a bunch of money grubbers. They're really into their money, and off the gate there's, again, a lot of different elements. So we talked about that it kind of reminds me a little bit of Demon Slayer. Don't worry, we'll get more into the crux of why it reminds me of Demon Slayer. I mean, already there's kind of little elements there, but then we got dragons, we got werewolves, now we got money grubbing, you know, this corporation that they hunt people, but they're money grubbers. Kind of reminded me of a Claymore vibe as well. So there's just a lot to take in. Claymore, Demon Slayer, dragons, werewolves, like holy shit. And upon hiring somebody from this guild, a little girl shows up named Grim, and of course everybody in the town is like, oh, it's all over for us. Like the mayor sold everything he owned. He's homeless, you know what I'm saying? The mayor is homeless at this point, and this guild of money grubbers sends a tiny little girl to come help out. You know, you expecting, you hire, you spend all this money, you want a big brolic motherfucker to show up and be like, I've got the job, what do you want, mate? But you get, hello, hi, I'm here. But I'm not even gonna lie. As I was reading this, because I'm a vet to this shit, okay? You know, I'm a vet to this. I knew that everything ain't going to be what it seems to be. I knew that there was going to be a plot twist at some given point regarding, okay, what is this werewolf? Who is the werewolf? Because it starts getting into the whole idea that somebody, one of these villagers, gotta be the werewolf. But we'll get into that again in a second, because these people from this guild, they don't hunt for free. It really emphasizes that they all about their bread. They like, yo, you don't expect a farmer to milk cows for free, right? We ain't gonna slay no damn werewolves for free. And it gets a little more into Velo, the main character's backstory, that apparently his parents were eaten by werewolves, which again gives me some more of that Demon Slayer vibe. So basically, he wants to hunt down these werewolves and whatnot. His parents were eaten by werewolves, similar to like Tanjiro and how it started off with his family being devoured. Of course, you see it in the first chapter of, you know, Demon Slayer, of it happening, but this happened to Velo in the past. So it just gives me even those vibes as well. And again, the way Shonen Jump is approaching it, they probably want another Demon Slayer anyway, because of the massive success that it had. So Grim and Velo go off because Grim, the little girl that's, you know, the huntress, they like, well, we gotta believe in her regardless because we did pay, so let's see, it's either that or we die or we try and run away from the village and shit like that. And Grim and Velo go off basically to kind of get clues and figure out what the heck is going on with this werewolf. And it just starts setting the stage up again more about this Grim girl and Velo, and how Velo, he's, you know, a little guy, he's a kid basically, but he also still wants to protect people and protect this hamlet from the werewolves and shit like that, which eventually ultimately leads to them finding a trail of blood and the mayor's axe. Mind you, the mayor, a very selfless guy. The mayor is the same person that actually killed the werewolf that killed Velo's parents. So like, you know, there's a bond there between the mayor and the main character Velo. He killed the werewolf, he avenged his parents, and on top of that, he just recently sold everything he owned to hire this huntress, which again, it wouldn't make much sense of what comes next, because this old lady says, oh no, the mayor is the werewolf. And right there, I already knew something was off. It didn't make no sense. Like, why would the mayor be the werewolf if he in the past had killed a werewolf for Velo to avenge his parents and shit like that? And then on top of that, he sold everything he owned, he's homeless and shit like that to get this werewolf out. He's gonna do all that to get himself. Like, I mean, there was also the possibility of like, he doesn't know he's the werewolf and shit like that, but I knew it was cap. I'm just waiting, like, okay, in my mind, I'm thinking like, is maybe the little kid the werewolf and doesn't know it? Maybe he ate his parents when he was little. Is Grim gonna be the werewolf? Like, I'm trying to figure like, where's the plot twist gonna come, because I know it's gonna come from somewhere. And then pretty quickly it kind of dawned on me like, oh, probably the old lady that just told them that the mayor is the werewolf is probably the werewolf. And yeah, the granny, she's the werewolf. And immediately Grim turns into an adult, and I'm like, there we go. Like, yo, I don't need a little 5-year-old looking girl and a little 10-year-old looking boy to be running this shit. Like, can we get an adult? But Grim turns into a big tall girl with, again, a red hood, which kind of, I guess, is a part of the whole, you know, guild, the hunters guild that she's a part of. And the design of the werewolf was a little bit unexpected, to say the least. When the old lady turns into the big werewolf, it reminded me of like, I've never been into it. I've only seen like, I think it's like a dog or something from Five Nights at Freddy. It looked like a really, like a brain dead dog or some shit. I don't know. Like, I was kind of like, doesn't look scary. Like, I'd imagine being there and holy shit, this old lady turned into a werewolf and is eating people. That'd probably be scary. But when I saw the design in the manga, I'm like, okay, you kind of look like Courage the Cowardly Dog if he was on crack. Following that, Grim seemingly gets eaten, and then Velo also is seemingly getting eaten and put inside of the, you know, werewolf's mouth, and the granny is talking mad shit like, yo, I'm eating because I don't like you kids. And then ultimately it's kind of getting into a very pivotal moment for the main character Velo, because Velo's like, you know, getting eaten and shit like that, and yo fam, didn't you say you're gonna take down the werewolves and shit like that? So he starts getting a realization, and then boom, shoots through the freaking werewolf's mouth, cuts the werewolf's stomach open, pulls Grim out. I'm just kind of like, holy shit, that's that energy I'm talking about, fam. Let's go. And then it just turns into like a Michael Bay film, because apparently Grim put some dynamite inside of the damn werewolf's belly, which you think about it. So you got eaten basically almost on purpose with the dynamite. You was gonna essentially do a sacrificial type of thing, possibly. Like, it was a part of your mission. You would have just blown up alongside the damn werewolf because you didn't have no other plans. You thought originally that Velo was going to run. So that kind of is telling, and also a setup for Grim's character down the road of like, yo, you were willing to sacrifice yourself, die right there, suicide and shit. Yeah, we gotta watch you because you're very unpredictable. Yeah, that's ultimately the end of the werewolf, and it sets up even more. Like, this is going to be a very, very huge story, because then they start talking about werewolves, witches, vampires, until the day that they are myths like dragons, we fight. So basically, there's going to be all sorts of shit. There's going to be vampires, there's going to be witches. Like, they are setting this up to be huge. And I'll be honest with you, I don't even think that the dragons are going to be completely myth. I think at some given point, whether it be like towards the end of the story, if it's a short story, then obviously we probably won't see none of this, just keeping it real. Like if in 15 chapters, Shonen Jump is like, we're getting you out of here, they're getting it out of here, we're not going to see none of this. But if this story can go the distance, it's going to set up a basic premise of something like a demon slayer, like, you know, main characters devoured by these monsters. But it looks like it doesn't want to just stop at like the whole manga is going to be about werewolves. It looks like it's going to be vampires, werewolves, witches, potentially dragons. Like this could be humongous. And I'm not even gonna lie, I was really excited about this first chapter. Like it seems like this one could stick. Now it depends on how the Japanese readers feel about it, but I'm feeling really good about this one right now, because the chapter ends off with Grimm asking Velo, hey, you should join the hunters. Why don't you join the hunters? And it says the story of two hunters, part 1, werewolf hunting. Which if part 1 is werewolf hunting, I'm imagining however long that'll span, we'll get the werewolf arc, and then it'll go from werewolves to vampires, so on and so forth. And this could be humongous, this could be great. Obviously it's not, you know, holding back, you know, you're getting a lot of gore and all sorts of shit, so it's gonna have that element. It's gonna have this fantastical element. Think of like Demon Slayer mixed with like what Fairy Tail would have been if it was more serious, with just like, you know, this vast variety of crazy beings that you're going up against. Like there's so much potential for this one right now. Again, it's the first chapter, so it could in 3 months be gone and we'll never talk about Red Hood again. It could in 3 years be the biggest thing in the world. It could in 3 years be something that, hey, it's been around and Jump and it got a horrible Toei animation adaptation, so who the hell knows. But as it stands right now, a maximum amount of potential. Really enjoyed this first chapter. Very curious what you guys think. If you have read the first chapter of Red Hood, how do you feel about it? What do you think about the main characters so far, Velo, the other main character Grimm? What are your expectations for this Red Hood guild and werewolves? And do you think we'll see dragons at some given point if this goes the distance? And do you think it'll go the distance? You think this will stay around? And if you haven't read it, are you going to check it out based on my recommendation? Again, it slapped for a first chapter. I don't do this no more. I haven't done this in a really long time, talking about a Shonen Jump manga based off the first chapter. But yeah, I don't know, I just had to do it. Red Hood. But that's all I have for this one. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoyed the video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you want more from me, make sure to subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram. Hit that bell to get all notifications. And if you want to follow any of my other social media, links of course in the description below. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day. And remember the golden rule: anime and manga for life, boy. Have an awesome day. Peace in. And honestly, I really genuinely hope that Shonen Jump allows Red Hood to go the distance. Like, I hope the people over there in Japan support it. I know I'm definitely gonna be tuning in, because this could be something big. This could be the next up. This could be something that really goes the distance. They got all the ingredients. I mean, alone I mentioned dragons, vampires, witches, werewolves, fairy tale-esque type of, you know, potential in terms of like just this vast world. I mentioned Demon Slayer. I mentioned Claymore. That's a recipe for success. Let's see if they can get it right. Let's see if Shonen Jump doesn't give it the axe, because I like it. I like it. Red Hood.
So just go to find me.